Hello everybody, this is Bev, Clark Vision, and welcome to my answers video for the 2022 metal tag. So yeah, you'll have seen plenty of them out there already. I've watched a few, I've not watched them all yet, I'm still going around them. I thought I'd get mine out the way. I've had a bit of time to think about them. So I've got my answers at the ready. And I've got the questions down here beside me as well, so I can see. So before I go any further, there will be a link in the description to the Rock Scouts channel, because it's Scott the Rock Scout who does this thing. He sets it off. A fantastic idea, actually. Kind of, obviously it's kind of a branch off the vinyl tag thing that happens annually as well, but this one's kind of more just geared for the metal community. So yeah, there'll be a link to his channel below if you want to see his initial video on the questions, and I'm also going to just post the questions below as well so you can see them without having to go anywhere. And so we'll just get on with it now. 20 questions, here we are. So, your favourite reissue of 2021. Now, I picked up a few reissues this year, but one right away stuck out as me as the one of the year, and it's not heavy metal, but they are classed as a rock band, so I'm including it, and it's this one here. 2021 reissue of Big Country's album, The Buffalo Skinners. This was initially released in 1993, so to get an original pressing, you know, you're shelving out big money, and it's not easy to come by in the first place. So this was remastered, reissued by Chrysalis, and it's a gatefold, etc. And this was very kindly given to me by Jim Davies, and it was one of the most anticipated albums I was waiting on in the year. It's a fantastic album. So that was my favourite reissue, I guess you could probably say. Question 2, a band you've discovered, old or new, in 2021. Well, I'm going to go for an old one. I've discovered loads of bands as usual. A lot of them new bands, but this one's an old band, and by old I say, well, they kind of formed in the early 80s, so they've been around since then. Their debut came out in 85, which was this. This is a reissue again, and it's the French kind of heavy metal / speed metal band ADX. So yeah, really good stuff. And they sing in French, just fantastic stuff. So that was one of the new bands. Show an album with an outstanding vocal performance. Thought I would pick this one because it's another kind of new one. But yes, you want an outstanding vocal performance, then listen to this. It's Tommy Johansson, who's the guitar player in... well, one of the guitar players in Sabaton. He has a set of pipes. He's got a superb singing voice, really powerful and up and down the scale, just fantastic. And he really shows his stuff on this album. Majestica, A Christmas Carol. So... pop that there. This one's a CD. I tried to make it mostly vinyl that I'm going to be showing here, but I think there's one question I answered with a CD, and it's this one, Show a Gap Filler. And it's this one from Pretty Maids. The album Stripped, and this again, it's a 90s record. It came out in 1993. And what it is it's a Pretty Maids album, but it's a whole load of tracks, and because the album's called Stripped, it is basically that. The songs are stripped down to kind of acoustic versions, if you like. There's no distorted guitars, big, you know, there's no the full band thing going on here like you would normally expect. This is purely stripped down songs, and to be honest, you know, it's okay, but it's not something I reach for when I want to listen to Pretty Maids, to be honest. So, because I really like Pretty Maids, you know, obviously I want to have the whole collection. I've not completed the collection yet, but that means having all of them. So this is what I would term as my gap filler for Pretty Maids stripped. So a cheap pickup from 2021. Well, I did get this in 2021, fairly cheap, very cheap. It's not a 2021 release, but I did get it, and it's the 7-inch single of How Much Love from Vixen. UK 7-inch with Wrecking Ball on the other side. Splendid condition, really nice. And it's not coming out, that's basically it there. So yeah, a couple of pounds delivered from eBay. Fabulous condition, classic song from 1990. Your favourite artwork from a new release. Okay, so this was, you know, there's quite a lot, obviously, really nice album artwork out there, and for me it was a toss-up between two. I couldn't quite decide, but it's one of these two. I think for me these are the best ones. You've got Blazing Right, Endless Halls of Golden Totem, which is, you know, the artwork is rather nice, shall we say. There's a lot going on, and again Powerwolf's Call of the Wild, and another lovely piece. I just think that's just very kind of power metal-y, obviously, with a lot of detail in here as well. You know, you can even see, you look closely, there's all this kind of stuff in the background as well. So that's my artwork of the year. Where are we now? A favourite track from 2021. Okay, from another new band I discovered, and it is a new band, this one. You know, that's a hard question. I don't really like to pick favourites because there's so much stuff, but if I had to pick one, this one again stands out. So it's from the band Nestor off their new album Kids in a Ghost Town, and it's the track 1989. Absolutely fantastic. Just as I explained in my review for 21, they just capture the essence of the 80s so well. And it's just got such a good 80s feel. So yeah, that was my second CD actually. A song that became an earworm. Oh crikey. Oh yeah, I was thinking I forgot this one, but no I didn't actually. Believe it or not, it came from this Majestica's A Christmas Carol. Track number 5 on here, Ghost of Christmas Past. That became an earworm for me throughout all of December. I was finding it appearing in my head pretty much every day when I went into work and stuff, and you know, just when I was in the shower, just, you know, when all that kind of stuff. So just fantastic song to have as an earworm though, so it wasn't anything to upset me by, thankfully. Because I know that sometimes you can get irritating earworm songs. 2 albums destined to be culled from your collection. Well, these both appeared in my 10 Terrible Albums video that was done a couple of months back, and the first one is this one, Tradia, and Tradewin's kind of a melodic, soft rock, AOR kind of sounding thing, an American band, just not that good. I think it sounded better when I first heard a clip, and then I got it and it didn't sound nearly as good. And also this is going right out of the cellar. I just don't like this band enough to want to keep this. I've got their EP which came out before this, and I think that's fine for me, because I quite like the EP. I don't mind that, but I've tried getting into this band and it just isn't working for me, so Out of the Cellar will be going as well. It doesn't even have an inner, so it's just in case, if anyone's interested, drop me a note in the comments in that one, but I think most people tend to have that, so anyway, it'll be going at some point. So band number 10, a band you have gone off. This one I took a bit of time to think about, and I think I'll come to the conclusion I'm going to go with this band. And it's not that I don't like them anymore, obviously, because I do still like them, but I just kind of had enough of kind of listening to Bon Jovi. I put this particular album, in fact I put New Jersey on as well, in the second half of last year, and I enjoyed New Jersey more. I mean, this is a good album as well, but I think it's just the sound and John Bon Jovi's voice. Yeah, I've heard enough for now. I'm just not really needing to listen to these guys now anymore. Plus, the most recent Bon Jovi album I got recently, and I've just pulled this out for reference as well. This was the latest one I got, which was another cheap buy, incidentally, off eBay last year. And I wanted this one because there is a few songs on here I liked. But even when I put this on, I didn't find I was overly enjoying listening to it, to be honest. So I think I've just kind of had enough of Bon Jovi for now. You know, they're certainly not going anywhere. I'm keeping them in my collection, but kind of just feel I don't need to listen. So, and their more recent stuff, well, I haven't really heard any of the really recent stuff, and to be honest, I don't know that I'd fancy it, so I have no real desire to get excited about them. So that's my band that I've gone off. But yeah, they're still an important band as far as back in the day and my memories go. So now, a 90s album recommendation. Definitely I'm recommending either of these two from Blitzkrieg. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Let's go to fall. Just bear with me. I don't want them falling off. Yeah, so Unholy Trinity by Blitzkrieg from 1996, or The Mists of Avalon by Blitzkrieg from 1998, the late 90s. Absolutely fantastic British heavy metal band. Both of these albums are absolutely tremendous. I'm so glad to have got them in the collection. So glad to have gone back and discovered them. And I feel they're a band that clearly are a bit underrated or not unnoticed. So do check them out. Highly recommended. I show a 7-inch single, oh yeah, this one, or name a single that sold an album to you. Well, I'm going to show this one, everybody's favourite song, because there is no, without a shadow of a doubt, this song sold the album to me, and pretty much the band, and you know, pretty much the band, the whole thing, the whole catalogue. I did not, the single came out in 1988, but I didn't buy the album then. I did buy it later, but it pretty much set me up. And it's Can I Play With Madness. This song did exactly what the band and or the record company wanted. It entered the charts. It made people more aware of who they were, obviously, because heavy metal bands as a rule don't get anywhere near the top of the charts in Britain, and this did. And of course I saw the video for the single on the telly and I liked the song. However, at the time, Maiden were kind of just that wee bit on the heavy side for me, so as I say, I became aware of who they were. but didn't kind of start buying Maiden albums until about 2006, when I started getting back into music again properly. And after A Matter of Life and Death, the next album I went out and bought was Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. And this is my favourite Iron Maiden album, Seventh Son. I love Can I Play With Madness because of the memories, what it did for me. I don't care about the commercial, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, if you get into the national charts and sell by the truckload, what band's going to refuse that? You know, you're not going to say, no, don't buy my record. So that side of thing doesn't really bother me to a great extent. If I like the music, then that's all that really matters. But that is the one that basically sold Seventh Son and Iron Maiden to me. Name an epic song. Oh yes, what a song it is too. Of 8 minutes or more. One of the greatest songs of this century. Happens to be on this album. Yep, and it is and it is the track The Raven Child on side 2, which is 11 minutes and 13 seconds. The Raven Child by Tobias Sammet's Avantasia is absolutely wonderful. It is one of the fantastic songs, the most fabulous songs that I've heard in a long, long time. It's just absolutely amazing. The vocalists on that particular song, if I can remember, because it doesn't actually tell you who's doing the vocals on the back per track, but from what I can recall, you've got Tobias Sammet himself, you've got Hansi Kirch of Blind Guardian, and now who else is it? I think it's Millie Petrosa is on this one, and I can't remember if Jorn Land has a hand in this song or not, but I know it's definitely got Hansi and Millie. Absolutely amazing song, one of the best I've ever heard. A quick opinion on Record Store Day, right. Probably like most people, certainly in the metal community anyway, I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. I, like most people, I like the idea of what it was brought in for and what it was supposed to do, you know, helping the record stores out. I like that side of it. But the the way some people treat Record Store Day kind of annoys me a little bit. It puts me off. It's the people who go out and buy all these records, these limited pressings, who are not really fans. Some of them probably weren't even born in the 80s, and you know, and some of them maybe even the 90s perhaps, you know, depends how old or young they are, but who don't really understand the whole growing up with physical music. They just want to buy them to resell them for 2 times or 3 times the money. That kind of thing I don't really like. I, on the other hand, personally don't get too excited about Record Store Day. I'll look and see what's coming out, because I do have a handful of Record Store Day releases. For example, for the likes of me, these were 2 important things I had to pick up. 2017, the Def Leppard EP was released on 12-inch and at 45 RPM, and this was the first time this came out as a 45 RPM, and because it's the original 1979 and it has Steve Clark and Pete Willis, that was a must for me. However, I did not get that. I did not go out and queue at the store. I got that sometime later when I found a copy on eBay, and it wasn't too badly priced either. It was pretty much at the retail price. And again, this one, I was fortunate enough and lucky enough to have been gifted this as VCLT, but again, when I saw this was coming out on vinyl, which is a live Def Leppard concert from 1980, from the On Through the Night tour, featuring Stephen Pete again, this had to come into my collection. This was its first release on vinyl. I have it on CD, which came out in the CD set of the early years. But to get this, for someone like me, who, as a fan of Steve Clark and The Way I Am and early Def Leppard fans in general have been, you could say, starved of material from the band from the 80s, particularly live stuff, which is kind of ridiculous because I've said it before, that was their heyday, the 80s, and yet there's hardly anything out there until about 2020, you know, when they officially released all the BBC sessions, etc., and this had never before been heard of. So I had to get this because it has my Guitar Hero playing live in it. And as I say, I was very lucky to get it on as a VCLT from two people. Thank you, guys. I also have the Knight Rider TV soundtrack, Striper's Goddamn Evil. Is that the one? Let me check I get this right because I always get confused. Yeah, that's the one. This is my favourite Striper, but Jim Davies very kindly got me that on Record Store Day vinyl because all the vinyl had sold out of the original release, and it's an absolute delight to have the original on vinyl. And he also got me the Knight Rider thing, as I say. And I have a couple of others from Gamma Ray and Stratovarius, which I got at later dates. So there is stuff I will see if, you know, I'll try and get it, but I won't go and pay hundreds of pounds for it. I'll try and get it if it's something I'd like to have on vinyl. So there is a handful. But as for going out there and queuing, forget it. I went out once on Record Store Day and it was a horrible experience. There was people everywhere, you know, they barged their way in. It was very unpleasant for me personally. And basically, you know, being in the UK, the shops around here don't really get in the rock and metal stuff. You've got to phone the shop and ask them to order it in, you know, and by that time you don't know if it's going to be sold out or whatever anyway, but and it probably has to come in from either Europe or the States anyway, so. But anyway, that's my quick 1 minute opinion on Record Store Day. It's kind of okay and not okay at the same time, if that makes any sense. Next up, what part of your music setup would you change? At the moment, not a lot. There's one thing I intend on changing very soon, and that is the stylus. I have an Orthophone Red, but I was kindly given the Orthophone Blue, which I'm about to upgrade. I thought I'll wait till the new year comes in and put it in then. So I'm about to change the stylus to the Orthophone Blue. Other than that, everything else is great, sounds good, works good. I would like to perhaps get a second CD player and a second cassette deck as spares, backups, for in the event that what I've got fails at some point. But that's not an urgent thing, and it's for the future. Biggest musical disappointment of 2021? Well, for me, like a lot of people again, one was the cancellation of gigs and, you know, the restriction of bands touring. That's a general disappointment because I know how badly that's affected a lot of bands, especially the smaller bands. So because of COVID, obviously. So that was one disappointment. And two is the unfortunate backlog that seems to have got really big in the last year of vinyl pressings. There's just so much vinyl queued up and backed up waiting to be pressed, and I think that's obviously because there's not enough pressing plants. I guess COVID's had an influence in that too, possibly making the staff shortages thing happen in various places. But yeah, just the fact that there's a backlog, and probably because there's hardly any pressing plants in comparison to what there used to be around the world. So what have we got? Name an album you're expecting and looking forward to in 2022. Well, there's a few, but there's one that, where is it? There it is. But there's one I am super excited about, and it's Tobias Sammet's Avantasia is releasing a new album, I think in the summertime, hopefully, all being well. He's finished the bulk of the recording, I believe, Toby and company, so I think they're doing all the, whatever they do, the mixing and all that kind of stuff at this moment in time. And Toby himself, he's quietly confident that it's some of the best stuff he's written and recorded, so if it's, you'll need to go some if it's to outdo this, because this is one of my favourite albums ever. So if it's to be better than that, it'll need to do some work, but I'm so looking forward to that. Who would you like to see release a solo album? Again, I had a good think about this one because, sorry, I'm just sorting out these records that are sitting here. You know, there's so many people out there, and I am primarily into the rock and metal. It's the guitar thing with me, and so I thought, yeah, I'd like to see something for this guy. It would be cool if Brian Tatler from Diamond Head, the main guitar man in that band from back in the day, if he was to do some kind of a solo project, I think that would be pretty cool, because he's an amazing guitar player. He's kind of one of these feel players. So yeah, that's my pick for that. I would be very interested in checking something like that out. Show a placeholder album that you would rebuy in better condition. I picked up this one. Most of the stuff I get, I try to have it in decent condition, but this one I picked up, the price was right, but the condition wasn't perfect, and it's Q5's Steal the Light, and it's a little bit, it's not bad when you look at it there, but when you look closer, there's a split right in the spine. And I like to be able to read the spines. I hate it when you can't. And again, it's got a bit of edge wear and a bit of mild ring wear, and it didn't have any kind of original inner at all. It just came in the outer sleeve, so I've put it in. So I don't know if there was like a picture inner with the original or not, but yeah. So I would probably want, if I came across one in nicer condition, to upgrade this, because it's a really good album by Q5. And it's refusing to go in. Of course it is, because I'm on camera. And the last question, because of cost availability, what album have you yet to pick up? There's a few, but one that jumped out at me first, and I thought I'll go with that, is get it right here. Yes, it's an album by Halloween, and it's the album Better Than Raw. Highly tricky to get a hold of because of the rarity and the fact that it's now super expensive to get. So hopefully there'll be a reissue come out somewhere on that one. Right, hopefully you've enjoyed that ramble. And we're bang on 30 minutes, so thanks. Again, I did hope to get this shorter, but hey ho. Thanks for watching, and check out the Rock Scout, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye just now.